What makes someone American isn't just their blood or birth. It's the allegiance that our founding principles and faith in the idea that anyone from anywhere can write the next chapter in our story. A quote by Barack Obama, who had started the program DACA in 2012. DACA is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's a program that Obama had started in 2012 to help undocumented immigrants become not citizens, but be able to get an education and live a better life. The reason you should care about DACA is because the reason you should care about the DACA recipients is because it affects over 800,000 undocumented immigrants living in the country. And undocumented immigrants do a lot for our country. There are many reasons why DACA recipients should be allowed to live in the country. Today I'm going to persuade you that DACA recipients should not get deported from the United States. I'll be focusing on three big misconceptions I hear a lot. 1. Taking jobs. 2. Paying taxes without getting government services. And 3. Wanting to pursue an education. I'll start with the misconception that a lot of undocumented immigrants are taking American jobs. DACA recipients don't take American jobs. They're working a job that Americans don't want. In a book titled, They Take Our Jobs, and 20 Other Myths About Immigration, published in 2007 by Avia Comsi, she states, the impact of immigrant labor on wages of native-born workers is low. However, they often work the unpleasant, backbreaking jobs that native-borns aren't willing to work. Look at this picture. As you can see, there are people in there harvesting the crops. Would you want to work that job? I work at McDonald's back home, and I can tell you that I have complained about my job now and then, and many of my other coworkers have complained about the work we have to do. I can guarantee you none of us would want to do what they have to do. Documented students will work the jobs because they want a better life, which is why they should be allowed to stay in the country. Now, I have a political cartoon here, which says, then, that illegal alien is doing a job I won't do. Now, that illegal alien is doing a job I've got to do. It's so amazing how easily Americans can shift the blame on immigrants when they needed the job. But as long as they have a working job and are working, they can easily just say that it doesn't matter that the immigrants are doing a job. According to an article, over 13 million worth of crops have rotted in California, which was published in 2013. It states, in Santa Barbara County, crops are left rotting in the fields because no one is willing to pick them up. Most of the crew was from Mexico. They were DACA recipients. All they wanted to do was make sure there were crops to eat and that they were able to feed their families. One reason why many of them left because they had fear of getting deportation once Donald Trump had took office. Plus, with the arrest being up, they were scared of getting arrested. This is why DACA recipients shouldn't be deported. DACA recipients are willing to do jobs at lower wages as well. Employers know that they will work for lower wages, and they can also charge U.S. citizens lower wages as well. Because DACA recipients want that job and really want to make a difference for their family, they're willing to work for the lower wages. According to an article by Jeffrey Pessell titled Undocumented Immigrants and Figures, published in 2015, states about 2/3 of undocumented workers earn less than twice the minimum wage. Undocumented immigrants make up less than 10% of the 43 million lower wages in the United States. The DACA recipients will do whatever it takes in order to live a better life for their family, have a better life for their family, including working at lower wages. DACA recipients are a value to our economy. They do what Americans don't. But if you're still not convinced that DACA recipients should be allowed to stay in America and shouldn't get deported, maybe knowing that they pay taxes will. That's right, DACA recipients do in fact pay taxes. According to an article by Priscilla Tortilla titled, How Much Do Dreamers Pay in Taxes?, published in 2017, she states, DACA recipients have paid $2 billion in taxes. It's not like they're living in America tax-free. The DACA recipients pay taxes even though they won't get Social Security. Now I have a picture here. of an elderly man and an elderly woman. The elderly man and the elderly woman are on vacation and they have finally retired and they are getting their Social Security. Now, we all pay taxes as we're in the working field, even the DACA recipients. But we all get to retire one day and we get to get all the tax money that we paid and we get our Social Security. The DACA recipients don't get that money back. They are working for low wages, paying taxes, and they still won't get that money back. I believe DACA recipients should be able to stay in our country and they shouldn't get deported because all they want is to live a better life. And if they're willing to work for lower wages and not get that money back, then why shouldn't they be able to get that opportunity to do that here in America? In fact, according to an article by Gura Khan, author of Will DACA Beneficiaries Be Able to Collect Social Security Benefits, published in 2012, it states, DACA recipients will never be able to collect Social Security because they don't have legal status. Us U.S. citizens get so much better and way more benefits than the DACA recipients who have came from all the way from their country in order to live a better life. Which is why they shouldn't get deported. They don't take our hospital beds. They don't take up our hospital beds. They don't get Social Security, so they shouldn't get deported. DACA recipients also don't get health insurance or Medicaid. According to an article by Patrick Glenn, he states that many DACA recipients are only allowed to get treated if it's a die-hard emergency at the emergency room, which means for the majority part of it, all DACA recipients have to pay in full for any medical expenses they have. They're not allowed to get any type of insurance. Now, the final reason why DACA recipients should not get deported is because of education. Now, believe it or not, even though President Obama had made this to help DACA recipients go to college, DACA recipients don't get to go to college for free. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that in order to become successful and have a sustainable amount of income, you need to get a college degree. Now, don't get me wrong, I know there are rare occasions and some cases where that's not necessarily needed, but generally, you need a degree. I think we can all agree on that. Now, according to the Department of Education, DACA recipients do not get any federal aid from the government, which means they either have to pay all the tuition or any aid money they get are from the universities through private scholarships. However, some universities do let DACA recipients pay the in-state tuition so they can pay at lower cost. Now, not everyone wants an education, and that's fine. However, because DACA recipients won't get much aid and are at a disadvantage, they shouldn't get deported because they're willing to put in the work. Now, I'd like to share a success story from a former DACA recipient. His name is Kok Leong, who stated in a New York Times article in 2017, I came to America when I was 6 years old. My parents grew up poor and risked everything they have to give me a better life. I've seen friends dig food out of trash cans to help feed their families. These are real everyday struggles. Now, it's easy to dismiss these struggles because it may not be happening to you. Many Americans forget that they too have immigration in their blood. And just like everyone else, we want to contribute to the only home we know. I am unfazed and undocumented. I am not going anywhere. DACA recipients are just as Americans as we are. They may have came from other countries, but this is their home. DACA recipients came here at a very young age, and all they know is America. Deporting them would mean sending them back to a place, maybe a third world country or a country that's not really doing as well, sending them to a country not only that's not doing as well, but also a place they are not familiarized with and a place they have no clue about. So, DACA recipients don't take our jobs, So, DACA recipients don't take our jobs, they pay taxes, they work for lower wages, and they don't get government services. So they shouldn't get deported because all they want to do is live a better life. And for someone who starts at a huge disadvantage over U.S. citizens, Why should they get deported and have to leave the country because they want better for their friends and family? Now I would like to end on a quote by Indra Nooyi. I have an immigrant mentality, which is that the job can be taken away at any time, so make sure you earn it every day. DACA recipients and undocumented immigrants, all they do is work hard, which is why they shouldn't get deported. Thank you.